will now come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Honorable City Council members, Mayor McCrate, Madam Treasurer, our City Attorney, the administrative staff, those who are in the audience, who are in attendance, and those who are viewing tonight's meeting via our broadcast channel and YouTube Live. Welcome to the City of Romulus City Council regular meeting, and today's date is Monday, November 6, 2023. Members of the public wishing to participate in this meeting may do so under the public comment portion of the agenda. Please fill out a request to speak public comment card located on the table in the back of the room and hand it to me before that portion of the meeting. And at this time, we will have roll call. Councilwoman Abdo. Here. Councilman Barden.
Here.
Councilwoman Roscoe.
Here.
Councilwoman Talley.
Here.
Councilman Wadsworth.
Here.
Councilwoman Webb is
Excused.
excused. And Councilwoman Williams.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum for
Thank you.
tonight's meeting. Tonight's council meeting agenda reads as follows. Number one, roll call. Number one, agenda. Number two, minutes. Number three, petitioner. 4, chairperson's report. 5, mayor's report. 6, clerk's report. 7, the city attorney report. 8, treasurer's report. 9, public comment. 10, unfinished business. 11, new business. 12, communication. And number 13, adjournment. And a motion would be in order to accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved to accept the regular meeting agenda as presented. Support.
It's been a motion by Ms. Talley, supported by Ms. Abdo, for approval of the agenda as presented. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. Number 2, minutes. Agenda item 2A. For approval are the minutes from the regular meeting held on Monday, October 23rd, 2023 at 7:30 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we approve the minutes from the regular meeting that was held on October 23rd at 7:30.
Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held on Monday, October 23rd at 7:30. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Abstain.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. There were no special meetings held on Monday, October 23rd. There are no petitioners on tonight's agenda. It takes us to number 4, the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First of all, there was no special meeting tonight, and I would like to thank Councilwoman Williams for chairing the meeting, last council meeting.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. At this time, the council, there's no report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Support.
The motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for approval of the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved. Thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council, Madam Treasurer, Madam Clerk, those in the audience here today, and also those at home tuning in. A few items before I get into the action items on my report. Today, we were notified through the EPA, and I'm jogging everybody's memory back to our deep injection well, and there's 2 different levels of permitting there. Eagle, State of Michigan permits everything above ground, EPA, everything below ground. So the last public comment period they had was for the state and Eagle, and they did reissue that permit even though we had public comment, but now they're up for the below ground, or EPA, or the federal regulations on the below ground operations at the well. So I want to make sure everybody is aware, and we'll be putting it on the city website and sharing it on social media, but the public comment period is now open. The EPA will accept written comments until midnight, December 15th, 2023. The contact is Alan Barca, 312-353-7316, or r5uic@epa.gov. And again, we'll share all that information on the city's social media pages and our webpage, but that's for public comments for the below ground operations at the deep injection well site in Romulus. So want to make sure everybody's aware of the public comment period there. Also, before the council meeting, I submitted to council the latest updates on the Motown site and the data and information that's in there in those packets too. So if you have a chance to review that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to contact my office anytime. Just a quick update too on some construction, E-Course and Wayne, the intersection, they did get some pavement in this weekend. They were working on the grade on the Wayne Road, so they're pushing forward. Hopefully they wrap that up. They worked all weekend on this one, and they ran operations later too because now they're losing daylight and weather. So they're still pushing for it. The original deadline for this to be open was end of 2023, and so far they're still on track. We're keeping our fingers crossed. No more issues, and the weather cooperates with them. So far so good on that intersection. They can't open it too soon. Eureka Road's progressing nicely too. Last week they had the middle 3 lanes recapped, and they're supposed to be installing the 2 outer lanes this week, so that should be wrapped up quick. The one we didn't know about was Pennsylvania Road. We weren't notified on that one, so we got the shared notification out to the residents, but that was kind of untimely, and we apologize for the inconvenience here, but it's a county road. And the way these jobs usually stack up is they'll have opportunities and windows open and close. And somebody couldn't do a job in their city, so, Wayne County reached out and said, hey, we can do Eureka Road this year if Romulus is ready for it. And we have to jump on those opportunities when they're here. So it's moving forward pretty good. They did a good job with the mill and a cap, and we anticipate to be about a 5 and 7 year repair down there. Hopefully we get that much out of it, but the real lift over there is to do a complete replacement of that road. But at least this will make the road passable for our residents. And we talked about Pennsylvania, so that will do it for the non-actionable items and the updates I have. First action item I have is reappointments to the Arts Council Commission. So hereby request approval to reappoint Maria Lambert, Julie Witelko, Cynthia Kellerman, Ellen Craig Bragg, Lynn Conway, Ann Lammers, and David Pazkowski to the Romulus Arts Council with terms to expire on November 11th, 2025.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I'm going to
Wadsworth.
move that we reappoint Maria Lambert, Ellen Craig Bragg, Lynn Conway, Julie Waitoko, Cynthia Kellerman, Dave Pawlowski, and Ann Lambers.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for the Art Council and Commission reappointments. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. The next item I have up is for 2023 tree lighting holiday train activities. And we've merged that, the tree lighting with the passing of the holiday train has become quite a hit in our downtown area. So we're trying to make that a bigger event this year, and Jerry, our DDA director, will have some more details on that event if you'd like to ask questions. But I concur with Jerry Freyer, DDA director, and respectfully request that council authorize a no-fee permit for all 2023 tree lighting and holiday train activities on November 24th, 2023, as well as the closure of Hunt Street between Goddard Road and Bibbin Street beginning at 5 p.m. and reopening November 25th, 2023 at 1 a.m. and the closure of Goddard Road from Shook to Moore beginning at 5 p.m. and reopening Saturday, November 25th, 2023 at 1 a.m. Public Safety Department and Department of Public Services have reviewed the request and have no objections to proposed road closures.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion for the no-fee permit for the 2023 tree lighting and holiday train activities.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Williams, for 2023 tree lighting holiday train activities. Any discussion?
Yeah, quick question through the chair.
Yes.
Are we moving this date a little sooner than we normally have? It seemed like we used to do it in December. And it
Yeah,
looked like it's after Thanksgiving.
There was such a good crowd that come with that holiday train to our downtown area. We thought it's a great opportunity to seize that and build the event. And last year, we did the tree lighting the same night. This year, the train is coming sooner. So it's the Friday after Thanksgiving this year, but we decided it worked so well last year, let's continue to build that event around that tree. I always thought it was kind of ironic that City of Romulus hates trains all year round, but for 10 seconds every year, we lose our mind for a train. So we're going to make it a bigger, better event.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other further comments, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Talley,
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. The next item I have is for a professional services agreement for pre-construction services for the police facilities. As council is aware, we were working with Wayne County in hopes of getting ARPA funds to rebuild our police station. Now we're moving on in a different direction. So the first step is to hire a consultant to bring in to look at the three most viable options we have, and that's reconstructing the existing PD, possibly using the old 34th District Court building, and also construction of a new one at a different location where we have funding mechanisms. So right now, they're going to evaluate all three and come up with the best proposal to move forward with the police department, and that's where Gilbane and Associates will come into play. So I will concur with the recommendation of Robert Fonis, the Chief of Police and Legal Counsel, to respectfully request City Council authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an attached professional services agreement with Gilbane Construction for pre-construction services to begin the process of evaluation and feasibility of options for renovations or construction of the Romulus Police Department's facilities.
Through the chair,
Yes, Ms. Talley?
I'd like to make that motion to concur with the administration and authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into the attached professional services agreement with Gilbane Construction for pre-construction services to begin the process of evaluation and feasibility of options for renovations or construction of the Romulus Police Department's facilities.
Support, and I have a question.
It's been motioned by Ms. Talley, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for a professional service contract for pre-construction service of police facilities and Gilbane Construction. Discussion,
Wadsworth.
I think, Mr.
Oh, okay, I'll be quick. Mayor,
Okay.
those
Mr. Wadsworth?
funds that he once talked about aren't available anymore.
Right.
That's gone. That's, okay. That was my question.
Thank you. Discussion,
Yes,
Mr. Abdo?
I just wondered if this went out for bid.
For the contractual service or the service agreement, no.
Yeah, because it seems rather steep for just an evaluation. And why did we pick this company? And why didn't we put it out for bid?
Great questions. Didn't put it out to bid because we don't have to for a professional services agreement. And I met
Okay.
Gilbane Construction, worked with them on other construction projects, but most recently the 34th District Court. And they came in to act as a third-party advisor for the city, and it was a great benefit, and they had great knowledge of construction. And we might see different construction sites in our city, but what Gilbane does is they're working on multiple sites all through the state of Michigan. So they see markets and trends and value. So there was tremendous value in having them, work through it. And I was able to be more hands-on with my previous role in building the court. But Chief Fonis, his area of expertise is not in construction. So we'll be working more with Jeff Kemp on this one. So we wanted to make sure he had somebody with knowledge in the field working with him on this one.
You finished, you done?
I just think it should have gone out.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. I would just like to say I appreciate this administration moving forward to get those officers out of that building. I really appreciate it. That's a really old building, and the city is constantly putting money into the building. It's like putting a Band-Aid over an old wound. So appreciate you looking out for those officers and those employees that work in that building to move forward. I did speak with the mayor pertaining to this line item, and he explained to me everything that was going on in total agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you, and I will bring council an update when we have, some viable information back from Gilbane, so we'll continue to update council and work with you on that one. The next item I have up is to piggyback on a My Deal contract for the purchase of 2 tabulators. And I would concur with the recommendation of Ellen Craig Bragg, City Clerk, and Gary Harris, Purchasing Director, and respectfully request council's authorization to piggyback on the My Deal contract number 071B77001117 with Dominion Voting Systems Incorporated to purchase 2 ICP2 tabulators for early voting in the amount of $13,413.64. Victoria Trush, Assistant Finance Director, has verified the funds for this acquisition are available in general fund elections, capital outlay expenses, account number 101-262-970-000.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to piggyback on the My Deal contract for the purchase of 2 ICP-T tabulators for early voting.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, to piggyback on My Deal contract for the purchase of 2 ICP2 tabulators for early voting. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you. The last item I have for action tonight is a budget amendment to recognize donations to support the holiday train event and tree lighting. So I hereby request the introduction of budget amendment 23-24-8 to recognize donations to the tree lighting and holiday train event and corresponding expenditures.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to concur with the administration and introduce Budget Amendment 23/24-8 to recognize donations for the tree lighting and the holiday train event.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Talley, for introduction of a budget amendment 23/24-8. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you, and that will conclude my report for this evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
Number 6 is the clerk's report. First, before I go into my action items, I just want to announce that Romulus does not have an election tomorrow. We've been getting a lot of calls, and people have been coming in asking, because tomorrow is Election Day in a lot of our neighboring communities, but we do not have an election tomorrow. Yay, yes. But we are assisting the city of Inkster in their election for on tomorrow. Thank you, council, for approving the purchase of our 2 tabulators, which will be used for early voting, and they are required for us to have them. We will be submitting for grant, so that we can get reimbursement, so whatever we spend, we've already submitted our petitions and applications for grant money, but this is something that is reimbursable. So we are in preparation. We were able to visit the city of Westland, who had, they're kind of piloting early voting here in Wayne County. So we were able to visit and kind of get a glimpse of how it's going to work. There's a lot of work ahead of us. So this is just kind of the beginning of these necessary purchases of our, for the tabulators in order to process the early voting ballots. So again, thank you, council, for that. And we will keep you updated. As we get information, we will certainly be passing that information on to you.
Thank you.
And with that, I have 4 action items. 6A, and this is for second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 23/24-3. And this was introduced at the meeting of October 23rd, 2023. Motion would be in order for the second reading.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion for second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 23/24-3 in the amount of $3,500 to recognize the 2023 Animal Welfare Grant Revenue and Expenditure.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for second reading and final adoption of the Budget Amendment 23/24-3. Any discussion?
I just got a question. Are we going to new forms? I see the clerk's stuff is on different forms than what we have previously seen. Is that something new we're doing? And is it going to be consistent?
It is a new form, and I know the deputy clerk has been working on this, so I didn't realize he had implemented the new form. So this is something that you're going to see. He is trying to create forms that's more efficient so we can use them electronically, and it's kind of a workflow, so that it'll go between the departments. So this is something that you can look for. So it kind
Is it going to go be through all departments? I mean, consistent across our package or no?
That's what he's working on.
Okay.
That's what Dijon is working on, so I
Okay.
didn't realize he had already implemented. I know he's been working really hard on this form, and so that it can go through, just for uniformity purposes.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
so yeah, kind of caught me off guard a little bit, too.
If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. That motion is approved.
Thank you, council. Agenda item 6B, and this is for second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 23/24-7, and this is in the amount of $53,710, and this is to recognize MCOL's Public Safety Academy Assistance Program, Revenue and Expenditures, and this was introduced at the October 23rd council meeting.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
I'm going to
Wadsworth.
move for the second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 23/24-7.
Support.
A motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo. Second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 23/24-7. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you. 6C. This is a public hearing request for Monday, December 11th, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. in accordance with Chapter 14, Section 14.2 of the Romulus City Charter. It is requested that council deem it advisable to consider the vacation of the entire north-south alley west of Lorraine Avenue and south of Hildebrandt Road to Terminus, and to schedule a public hearing again on Monday, December the 11th, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. to hear the public input on said alley vacation.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll
Ms.
make a
Abdo?
motion for the public hearing request for Monday, December 11th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Williams, for a public hearing request for Monday, December 11th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
6D, for first reading and introduction, amendments to Chapter 36, Section 36-360 of the Romulus Code of Ordinances. It is requested that council concur with the recommendations of the city attorney, Stephen Hitchcock, and the prosecuting attorney, David Green, and approve the first reading and introduction to amendments to Chapter 36, Section 36-360, brandishing firearms in public, applicability violation as a misdemeanor penalty of the Romulus Code of Ordinances. And this would be for first reading, an amendment to that section of the Code of Ordinances.
Need a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion for the first reading and introduction to amendments to Chapter 36, Section 36-360 of the Romulus Code of Ordinances.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for first reading and introduction to amendment to Chapter 36, Section 36-360 of the Romulus Code of Ordinance. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Can I get a better understanding of what we are amending?
We'd have to, comments from our city attorney on that.
Currently, the state law prohibits brandishing of a firearm in public. Brandishing is movement of that firearm where you might point it at somebody or you're waving it around in some way. We don't have the same provision in our local ordinance, and they're finding that many times the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office isn't particularly interested in proceeding with some of those cases, so we want to have the authority locally to prosecute them as a misdemeanor under the local ordinance in case the Wayne County Prosecutor is not interested.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, council. And the last action item under my report, which is 6E, and this is for first reading and introduction to amendments to Chapter 58, Sections 58-30 of the Romulus Code of Ordinances. It is requested that council concur with the recommendations of the city attorney, Stephen Hitchcock, and the prosecuting attorney, David Greco, and approve the first reading and introduction to amendments to Chapter 58, Section 58-30, distracted driving of the Romulus Code of Ordinances.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion for first reading and introduction to amendments to Chapter 58, Section 58-50 of the Romulus Code of Ordinances.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Abdo, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for first reading and introduction to amendments to Chapter 58, Section 58-50 of the Romulus Code of Ordinance. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes, to the attorney, we are adding this to our ordinance, and what does it in detail?
We're actually going to strike from our ordinance. We have a distracted driving ordinance that you adopted back in 2017. Subsequently, not too long ago, the state legislature also adopted a distracted driving ordinance with regards to electronic phones and computers and things like that. But it says in that statute that they're preempting the area, meaning local jurisdictions cannot have a similar provision. Our existing distracted driving, which includes a number of things other than telephones and computer devices, has in it those two items. So the proposal here is to strike those two provisions out of the ordinance so that we can continue to apply our ordinance to things like eating and drinking and reading and things like that. You see people doing that are not covered by the state law, we would still be able to enforce those. On the other hand, if it was involved technology, if somebody's using their laptop or using a phone in their hands while they're driving, that would be prosecuted under state law.
Okay, thank you for making that clear.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If no other discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you, City Council. That concludes the clerk's report. Takes
Thank
us
you.
to number 7, our city attorney report.
Before you've got a proposed resolution with regards to a House Bill 4965. That bill is proposing to remove from the franchise fees that we now get from cable companies, the streaming type services, which would be your Hulus, your YouTube TVs and things like that. If that passed, that will end up reducing both our PEG fees and our franchise fees. And the problem, of course, is that more and more people are moving to using those methods of getting their programming. And so our proposal to you is that you pass this resolution to give to the House objecting to them or asking that they not go forward with this particular act because it's going to be a negative to the revenue in the community that we use for our own local programming if they were to pass this.
Mr. Mayor?
Through the chair, just to piggyback on that comment, this is similar to when we asked council to come up with a resolution opposing the aggregate bill. We're watching these legislative acts go through Lansing, and we're trying to take a more active role in what pertains to our community. So a few weeks ago, former Councilman Barry Bowman came here and he talked about the Wind and Solar Act. We're watching that one real careful too because it removes local control and authority in an act like that. So this is another one where it's going to have a definite negative impact on our community. So we'd like to be able to say the city of Romulus unanimously, is opposed to this verbiage in this language. So you'll see us come to you more with language that we're watching in Lansing. So, we worked with CWW and other agencies in this region to make sure, that they're in agreement as well. And so if we can use our lobbying voice to work and say, look at this bill that you're drafting right now does not work for the city of Romulus, we want to make sure that they know that.
Mr. Wadsworth?
I'm going to move that we pass a resolution that we object to House Bill 4965.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for resolution to objection to the House Bill 4965. Discussion. Ms. Williams.
Yes. To the attorney, you said that it would be a negative effect on the city. What effect would it be on the residents that have the internet service?
Well, no direct effect upon them. Because the cable company is who's paying the franchise fees. Now, arguably, it's probably buried into their charges, but that doesn't mean they're going to reduce their charges if there's a reduction on the amount they have to pay the local communities because of the streaming portion of their bill.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms.
So
Talley?
if this passes, how do they I'm trying to see the benefit. It would be benefit to the state? because I'm trying, why is this even coming up, I guess?
Well, for whatever reason, there's been, for quite a while, pressure to try to take away from the FCC its authority to regulate this and to require franchise fees. And it's presumably being driven by all the providers who want to provide the services to the public, but they don't want to pay any fees to the local communities as part of it.
Okay.
So it's kind of first attempt to eat away at that,
Okay,
I would say.
okay, thanks.
Any other discussion from council? If not,
One last
Ms.
comment.
Wadsworth?
So,
Ms. Roscoe?
yes, so technically, what you're saying is they're still gonna collect those franchise fees, sort of say, in the billing, but we're not gonna see any benefit from it.
That could be the way it turned out, yes. Like I said, I don't know whether they're going to volunteer
They're not gonna give
change their,
the customers back any money.
correct,
when
it's
all is
possible, very
said and done.
possible.
And then, as far as the communities go, we're not gonna see any of that then.
Yeah, and plus it would reduce the revenue we would have to provide programming to the citizens through our local channels.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
John,
Mr. Wadsworth?
if I could, this would be a negative impact on our cable in this city to provide the public with cable TV.
Correct.
Exactly.
If we lose revenue, that'll reduce our programming bill.
Okay.
Any other discussion from council? If not, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Wadsworth?
Yes?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
John, before he finished, the city attorney. I want to ask, since now you have a report, I want to ask you a question under your report. I've talked to several residents, and I know in the South, and just because you're the city attorney, just throwing it out there, what would it take for the residents to, because you say you own your home, but yet and still in the South, when you get a certain age, 62, 65, you don't pay any more property tax. So what would, and I know people probably think it's just impossible, but anything is possible. So what avenue could we, as residents, take, or state legislators? And I know it would be a negative effect on the money that they collect, but when you're looking at the economy and the way everything is going up, we need to do something to benefit the seniors, because once they get a certain age, there should be a much bigger break than what they're getting.
Well, being able to take groups out of paying property taxes is down at the state level. And there are, and I think there was, I think I remember seeing it not too long ago. I don't think it went too far. There was some legislation introduced on this exact subject you're talking about, of reducing property taxes for senior citizens. But the state ledger would have to do that. We can't do that locally.
Right, I understand, but I was just saying, like, what can we do on the city level to maybe write a resolution and send it to them, and maybe get other communities involved? Because we have to look at, I hear so many seniors, and including myself, once you get a certain age, I mean, we say we own our home, but you'll never own it as long as you have to pay property tax. And the property tax, regardless of your age, don't go down. So we need to look at, doing something to aid that situation, because it's not getting any better. So, and I just wanted to know from your expertise, what level or what can we do to move in that direction or bring it back up?
I'll take a look and see if it's still pending out there. If it
Okay.
isn't, I'll get the bill to you. Because I guess the best way to handle that would be to write to your individual House representative saying you'd like them to support the bill.
I mean, because if you look at it with the property tax and then with this new insurance thing, they claim that we got a break, but we really didn't, because once they did what they did, the insurance went up. If you took the 100% off paying your insurance, would the insurance company be 100% responsible if you were in an accident? You still didn't get a break. And so the state reps, the state senators, the federal government, we got to do better. We really do, because the incomes are not going up. Everything else is increasing. So if you can look into that, that would, I'm sure, would really help a lot of seniors.
Of course, it also has effect on the local communities. Unless the state were to supplement that revenue loss, then we would have a loss in property taxes, as would every city and township too.
Well, let me tell you, I was looking at a situation where we have federal government, this is on the federal government level, and they're bringing in people from other countries, and they're paying, like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like the nurses, $64,000 a month. If the government can waste our tax dollars like that, we can definitely look into saving our seniors money. So it's worth a try. Thank you.
If there's no further discussion or comments under the city attorney's report, that will take us to number 8, the treasurer's report.
Good evening. Thank you, council, mayor, clerk, and listening audience. I have a few things under my report, but I also have a question too, and this would be for the attorney. Was that in particular for senior citizens, or was that for all property taxpayers?
The piece of legislation that I remember seeing was for senior citizens. I don't remember whether it was at age 62 or 65.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone that winter taxes, speaking of property taxes, they are coming out. You should receive them on Friday, December 1st, and they are due on Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. As always, if you have any questions, please call the treasurer's office. And then last council meeting, we talked about property tax, and as I'm sitting here, it dawned on me, so I pulled up the information, so I wanted to go ahead and share that. In particular, there was some information shared on the property tax credit, and so I wanted to read the information. It may be helpful to some of you. The homestead property tax credit helps qualified Michigan homeowners and renters pay for a portion of their property taxes. For the 2023 tax season, this credit is worth up to $1,600. For homeowners, your taxable value must be $143,000 or less. For both homeowners and renters, your total household resources must be $63,000 or less. So that's the cap. It's $1,600 to max on that. And you know, when we talk about property taxes, because I know nobody likes to pay property taxes, but you know, I stopped and I thought about, and this is an ongoing conversation with our Wayne County treasurer, you know, the police and fire, the garbage, all that stuff falls all under the property taxes. So if there's not property taxes being paid, I don't know how that all works out, if that's something that's billed separately. It's just something, you know, to think about. Because I know our seniors definitely need public services, as well as the rest of us, because we never know. But it is high. It's expensive, and I understand that, you know, everything's high nowadays. It's not fun, that's for sure.
And the reason I brought it up is because if the South can do it, the North should be able to do it. And so we have to come away from that, regardless of how old you are, you're going to leave here, you know, your taxes will still be doing your property. So we just have to come up with something. I understand that every dime is needed for every community, but at the same time, we got to do better.
Yes. And then I also wanted to share this information for our veterans. It's Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri invites you to save the date for the 7th Annual Veterans Resource Fair, and that's resources for all veterans, spouses, and family. That is on November 16th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's at the Greater Grace Temple on 7 Mile in Detroit. So if you have any questions, you can always call my office, and I can share that information with you. And that is it under my report. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 9 is public comment, and this is the portion of the agenda for those who are in the audience and who would like to address the city council. The rules to address city council can be found on the back of your meeting agenda. To address the city council, please raise your hand, and after being acknowledged by the chairperson, approach the podium and state your name. Please note, members of the public who submitted a public comment card will be called upon first. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and any additional time will be upon the consent of the chairperson. Mr. Chair and Council, we have 3 written requests. The first one is from Kevin Watson.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Here tonight to discuss, I live on Gloria Street right off of Henry Ruff. And during the past few years, there's been lots of speeders going down my street and on Henry Ruff. On February 8th, 2019, my Jeep Liberty was parked in front of my house and ended up in my front yard because of one of the speeders. And of course, the police caught him because he lived on Beverly Street and was missing part of his car. And on November 26, 2021, my garbage cans were destroyed, which I contacted Councilwoman Williams about that matter back then. And just recently, I talked with Mayor McCrate about the issue via messenger. And I also talked to him outside the city in Taylor one day about the traffic going on because of the construction on Wayne and Van Born, which is part of the problem, but also another part of the problem has been, since the Amazon warehouse has been opened, we've had people speeding through Gloria Street, up and down Henry Ruff, and especially during shift changes there. And with the construction, it's gotten worse, which I know that's gonna be temporary. But even without the construction, it's still going on. I've seen constant speeders, as in trucks with trailers, speed up and down Henry Ruff. I've seen Amazon trucks, I've seen DHL vans racing up and down Henry Ruff all the time. And also too, what I was asking here today is there any chance of getting speed humps on Gloria, or even speed humps on Henry Ruff, or even like one of those speed trackers things that they put to let you know how fast you're going when you're driving down that road? Or even a stop sign, you know, going north and south on Henry Ruff approaching Gloria.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, usually I'll wait for, to do my response later on, but I'm gonna have a question for you as well, because in some of the speeding areas, we've been able to track what are peak times to make sure we're having officers out there too, to curb that behaviors. Are there peak times that you're witnessing there, where is it rush hour, is it in the AM, is it PM, or?
It's between 3 to 6 p.m.
And that's, you notice that's the worst
Yeah.
issue? Okay. And we are looking at the speed bumps and the install, and we've always been hesitant to put those in there. We're trying to curb with different behaviors, but if we have to go that route, so right now, we're looking at purchasing some of them and install them because of the cost associated with them. But yeah, we're trying to get our hands around the speeding issue, and it's not just around us. I hear it from all different mayors and all different communities. People are just driving like fools anymore. So that'll be our last-ditch effort. If we had to install them, we will install them, but we're gonna try to do everything we can to curb that bad behavior before we go that route. So we are looking right now to get some prices on those as far as the install, but I'm gonna look at relocating that trailer out there, because that seems to help too. And also, we can tell PD it's a narrower window, so if we know it's between 3 and 6, they have a better chance of getting somebody out there. Because what's happened in the past is we'll put PD out on an issue, and they'll sit out there all day and nobody speeds, and then when they pull off scene, here they come.
Yeah.
So we're gonna track it with the trailer, we'll get the trailer out there, and then we'll have PD watch it a little bit closer. But we are looking, and we might be bringing it to the council about the installation of some of these speed bumps. We've been trying to avoid that. It's a latch different only, because that slows down response times with emergency vehicles and a lot of different things. But if we have to do that to curb this behavior, we're gonna do it, so.
And also, because I live just right off of Henry Ruff and Gloria right there, my next door neighbor, she literally lives on the corner, and she has 13 grandkids, and there's always grandkids visiting. And also too, there's people that walk on Henry Ruff all the time, and there's no sidewalks on Henry Ruff. And that's another issue. And people walk up and down Beverly sometimes too, and it's on Beverly too that's going on. But I don't know the hours because I don't live on Beverly. I very rarely use Beverly, so, but I've heard lots of complaints about that too.
And most of Henry Ruff is still gravel, so I'm surprised that people are speeding on that with the condition of a gravel road, but
Exactly.
I can't explain the behavior of people right now, but yeah, we're gonna find a way to stop it one way or the other, so we're gonna continue. But I appreciate you giving me a narrower window of opportunity with the PD. We can put out there and do some things to try to curb that behavior, so.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Mayor.
Keep me posted.
Mr. Chair, our next written request is coming from Wiley Montgomery.
Hi, my name's Wiley Montgomery. I live at 16158 Dodge in Romulus. And a lot of you know me. You know, I worked for the city for about 40 years, off and on. Little joke there. But I only don't know if I can do this in 3 minutes. Could I? I am from the south side. I'm real slow. If I could get a little bit more troopers. But anyways, I guess Mr. Wadsworth addressed the tree situation in my neighborhood off of California Millbelt. We have a tree that's been hit by lightning. It's an old poplar. It's in the middle of an elderly woman's yard. A limb came down a month ago. The whole neighborhood's out of power for 2 days, 2 nights. We could not leave the subdivision because we have one way in, one way out. And so we need to get that addressed. The tree is, like I said, it had lightning hit it. It's a V-shaped. I mentioned it to several people about getting it taken care of. They said they can't go into the city proper. We can't go on private property. But I have pictures where in this neighborhood here, in several days, they've had people, DET, up in people's middle of their backyard, cutting trees. That's a hazard to these wires. These trees that have our city, or our neighborhood shut down for more than a couple of days, the big as they are. There's one also I'd like to address. It's outside on Middlebelt in California, and it's, the bottom of it's got a cavity in it. It's about 90% ate out, and it's fixing to fall across Middlebelt. That'll also be a hindrance to our neighborhood. And then our roads haven't been patched. They've been potholed. I've done it myself. But 1974, they put the roads in. They haven't been really resurfaced since then. If we could get California Street, I'd be appreciative of that. The tree, the road, sidewalks. I watched the council meeting 3 weeks ago. The mayor just said we got $1 million sidewalks. I'm like, yeah. I have sidewalks that was put in 1954 by Terry Trowell as a supervisor. And they're way down here, and the road is here, 2 foot up higher. And every time I cut my grass, I'm having a hard time cutting because half of the concrete's showing and half of it ain't. There's 53 houses in my neighborhood. 20 of them have sidewalks left. Everybody else has took the sidewalks out. I moved houses over there about 20 years ago, and there was no sidewalks there, and I didn't put none in. I'd like to have them just to address taking the sidewalks out. Put some dirt in, or I'll put it in. But it would be very costly for me to take the front sidewalks out. I'm on a corner, and also the other side. Walter Orm worked for the city, also retired. He has a corner lot. It would be very costly for him. That's my time.
Well, I'm gonna give you some more time. Go ahead.
Thank you. And then I heard the mayor was talking about addressing some situation with the veterans, having a monument and having it moved. And I happened to work on that monument a couple times myself as a city employee. And under the trains shucked the monument. We had to do some anchoring to anchor it down so it wouldn't move again. But if you need somebody to help you out with that, I will do it. I have 2 brothers who served in Vietnam. Both of them passed away early in their life because of the chemicals that they sprayed there. But if there's something I can do for you on that, let me know. I do know some contractors. I do know some people. Maybe get some people to volunteer. Jerry said he'd help out. Wadsworth said he would stand and watch. So that's about it for me. So if you get any questions, I'll hang around a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
Yeah, Mr.
If I could
Wadsworth.
just interject with what Mr. Montgomery said, Mayor. That big tree, if it falls, if it goes on Middle Belt or if it comes on California, somebody could get hurt. There's no ifs, ands, buts about that. That's one thing I think is everything he talked about, but I think the issue with the tree is the most important.
And we can revisit that too, but I think the problem is, and Wiley hit on it a little bit, is that it's on private property and it becomes an issue when we're doing
I'm aware of that.
city on private property. So we'll see if we can be creative. Maybe there's an opportunity to work with DTE. If it's in close proximity to a power line, we can work with them because I know they're doing a lot of tree cutting in the area right now. So Wiley, I'm going to ask you to give Jerry your phone number so we can look into these things with you and then get back to you on that one. But, yeah, we'll explore DT, maybe that's an option for those trees. Does it, well, and can I ask, does the property owner, they don't have the funding to take these trees down, or how come the property owner? Gotcha.
He's really keeps a lot up, you know. I tried to help her, she broke her leg the other day, so I've been helping her for the last couple of months, cut the grass and stuff.
Well, there might be some grants that we might be able to find out there through seniors as well, too. So, well, we'll get creative and see if we can't come up with a resolution for this one.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Chair and Council, we have one more written request.
Okay.
This is from Eleanor Howard.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to address a development on Dexter Street that has raised some concerns among the neighbors and myself. I've been a resident of Romulus for 22 years and on Dexter for 22 years. With most of the neighbors, I need to know, all of a sudden we have parking, a temporary parking sign put in our yard last week by the police that says no parking. I don't know why they're there, what's the reasoning for them. We haven't been notified. We used to have a sign for a deaf child that was on our block. The child family has now left. The sign has been taken down. Not sure what the reasoning is for it. There's never been an issue with parking on either side of the street on Dexter, but now all of a sudden there's a problem or an issue, and I need to know what the issue is. If it's the issue with the mailboxes being on the side where now the no parking signs are being put up, instead of having no parking on that side of the street, why couldn't the sign say no parking Monday through Saturday from 10 to 2, and parking is allowed on the street? I just need to know what has changed in the 22 years that I've been there that now we have no parking. Can anybody answer that for me?
Mayor?
Mayor?
What's the street? What's the
Dexter.
street?
I'm at 6318
okay.
Dexter Street.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. I'd like to get your number before you leave so I can reach back out to you. But as far as I'm nobody's made me aware of a issue like that. The only time we'll do no parking is if there's a fire lane. And if it wasn't properly marked in the past, we find out if there's fire hydrants on that area. So I'd have to look at it a little bit deeper. So I'd like to get your phone number before you leave here tonight.
Absolutely. I did talk to the chief of the fire, fire chief. I've talked to him on 2 different occasions. First, he said the signs have been up all the time. However, they haven't. The signs on one side of the street went up in July. They immediately took those down. There is a fire hydrant on that side of the street, and there is a sign telling you not to park by the fire hydrant. We all understand that. He told me the reason that the signs are up because they have a problem removing snow because there's no outlet. It's just a curb to go into the next block. It's been there for 22 years. Never had a problem removing the snow before. The residents, and of course, I don't know if you guys know this, but in 1999, those homes were built for 150 people, and all of us have been there for such a long time, and now all of a sudden there's an issue. Residents want to know why. What's the issue? And it's only one block. Every block has a 10-block radius with 150 homes in between the public housings that are there. But now we can't park on our side of the street. We're property owners and we pay taxes, and now we can't park in front of our own home? It's an issue. Can you help us?
John.
Well, we could definitely drill down into it, see what's going on and what was, find a reason for it. But those are always predicated by law, so it should be a law or a standard that's out there that we could be able to quote. And I can say this, I'm not sure it's happened in your area. We've been to an area before to investigate parking in a fire lane, and then when they measured the road, they find out that actually, if you park on one side, it makes it too narrow for emergency vehicles to be able to safely access, and it showed, and these roads were 30 and 40 years old, that technically you shouldn't be parking on either side of the road. And it might be an instance where you're at. I'm not saying it is. Let me find out definitively what's going on.
Okay.
But we've seen that happen before where it's been a road and there's never been an issue. And then when we go out there and look at it because somebody called in a complaint, there's something going on, we measured the road. Well, technically the width of this road, we shouldn't be parking on either side of the road. and nobody's ever happy about that. So let me look into it, though, right now, it's just what if. So let me look into it, get some details for you. Like I said, I want to get your number before you leave,
Okay.
and then I get you a solid answer.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Williams?
Is this between
I'm sorry.
Hearst and Cincinnati?
It
On
is
Dexter?
between Hearst and Beverly. Do you know where, I always call it the island, but it's a park, and it divides us.
Okay,
It divides us.
Blacktop.
Right. I live right at Hearst and in between Horace Jackson, I guess it would be.
Okay.
Okay. That's the area.
I was just trying to picture your street.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good, thank you.
That was the last written request, and just for the record, Mayor McCrate, we do have all the contact information from all of the residents who requested to speak, and I'll make sure you provide that for you.
Any other comments from the audience? If there's no other comments from the audience, Madam Clerk, we're going to close that part out.
Okay. Takes us to number 10, unfinished business.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Abdo.
Yes, this is directed for you, Mayor. I just didn't get a chance to ask. When you talked about the deep well, will the city be making a formal statement on behalf of the residents concerning the deep well?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
And just so council's aware too, we did receive a response from Eagle when they approved the permit for above-ground operations over there. And we're not entirely happy with that response, even though it is what it is. We are going to make a response to Eagle, let them know that, we don't think that they addressed the concerns that came out of their public comment, so.
I just wanted to let people know that we are making the statements. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Jerry?
Good evening, Clerk, Treasurer, Council, and Mayor. Just a couple reminders. We got the Gobble Wobble Turkey Trot coming up on Friday, November 17th, 2023. It's the 6th annual, benefits Goodfellows, 5 p.m. check-in and warm-up at the Artisan Reserve. And trotting will begin at 5:30, and we will trot to Walter's Bar. And at Walter's Bar, we'll have DJ and karaoke provided by Jeff Lowry with Sound DJ Enterprise. So if you can make it, Friday, November 17th for the annual turkey trot, holiday turkey attire is encouraged. Also, just a little bit more on the holiday train and candy canes in our district. And the Romulus tree lighting with Santa will be Friday, November 24th, 7 p.m. Santa will be here. Festivities begin at 7 p.m. at the Romulus Historical Park to coincide with the later arrival of the holiday train. We will have holiday vendors, we will have food trucks, of course, we will have Santa arriving. We will have crafts, we got about 6 or 7 craft vendors. Live entertainment, we'll have Detour out there doing their top 40 music blended in with some Christmas songs. We will have DJ Lowry after they perform, just providing us some Christmas songs as well. And we also have Nightshade, they're a caroling group, they dress up in the attire, and they're going to come out and do some Christmas carols for us as well. We'll also have the pictures with Santa, and just come out and support us and have a good time. And we'll be waiting for the train to arrive, but we'll have festivities, we'll have a warming center, kids activities, plenty of things to do. So come out and support us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes,
If I
Mr.
could,
Wadsworth?
I just remember something, I'm talking about helping, its hands over here on 5 Points. Thanksgiving is coming, and they're always looking for turkeys to pass out. So I'm going to give one. I hope the rest of us do too, and the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth.
Is there any more unfinished business from council? If not, that takes us to number 11, new business. 12, communication.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes, back by popular demand, at the RAC, we will be hosting a pickleball clinic this Thursday, 6 p.m. It's from 6 to 9. It's $10 per person. So I just wanted to make that clear if anybody's interested. Mayor, they were hoping to see you. Oh, okay.
Come on now, I'll be there a lot. don't I?
Yeah, Barton, you've been telling you've been coming.
I'm sorry, what's the date for the pickleball?
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
this Thursday.
Oh, that's what I got to cut
I
the
lost my
grass.
wallet in a flood or something.
$10 per person, it's very cheap, and they do have pickleball paddles there for those that don't have them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Talley?
Oh, thank you. First, thank you, Treasurer, for the update. We started this discussion at the last meeting regarding resources for the seniors. And I think we had the same information, but you had the CAP information, was it in addition to what we were talking about before, correct? And you said that's $1,600, right? Okay, so thank you for that clarification, so that at least that's out there for the seniors. And then secondly, I just wanted, my last announcement for the Arthur Talk this Thursday at Romulus Library from 6 to 8. We have two authors, Kaylin Hunt, Ebony Evans, who will be out there, and we can delve into their creative minds for some author talk. So I hope I can see you there this Thursday from 6 to 8 at our Romulus Public Library. And I think that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Talley.
We on communication?
Yeah. Ms. Williams?
First of all, I would like to say thank you to the mayor and the first lady for coming out and participating in our trunk or treat. It was awesome. I was told to let the mayor know that if we had a trunk or treat contest, you would have won. He went out of his way to dress up his trunk, but thank you for the participation.
Thank you. All credit for that decoration goes to the First Lady. I had nothing to do with it other than buying candy.
Well, let her know she would have
She did a
won.
great job. Thank you.
But I also like to let the residents know, Forgotten Harvest, we are always there every Tuesday at the high school parking lot next to, you come in through the driveway next to Dollar General. You have to be in line by 12 o'clock in order for us to serve you, because we have to get out of the parking lot before the school lets out. And just as always, everyone's welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I also have to give thanks to the principal of the high school and the superintendent. Some board members was there passing out candy. Thank you. I would just like them to know that we really appreciate their participation.
Any other? If I'd like to say, first of all, shout out to our Romulus Eagles for making the playoffs. And I also like to say that this is for Mr. Wadsworth, Linda Day, Kathy, and the mayor. We are first place. Thank you. No further. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. That takes us to number 13 on that note. What a way to adjourn. Adjournment will be in order of motion.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Williams for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.